Welcome, this is where nerds come to learn things. If it's your first time here, click on the subscribe button and on the bell icon to get notifications about new videos. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoy it. Okay, I've been sent this little KSGER T12 soldering station for the purpose of review from Banggood at no charge to me. So I've got this for free. We'll have a look at this and see what's going on with it and see what it's actually like. I've had a little bit of a play around with it already for a few minutes just to power it up briefly and just have a little look. And yeah, I'm actually quite impressed by it, to be honest. I quite like it. We'll go over the view and we'll go through the menus and stuff on it. It's got some interactive menus there and you can see what's going on. So there's lots of similar items like this available. Some of them look exactly the same as this, but they've got different displays. This one's got an OLED display on it, as you'll find out in a second. There are some with different LED displays and stuff instead, so you have to be careful which one you choose. So if you're interested in this particular unit, make sure you go and click the links down below in the description. Just click the Show More tab and it will open it up and it will show you the links to Banggood, which I've got set up there for, which go to this particular item. And the other thing I've also got, it comes with this particular handle here. Now I've had one of these handles before on another piece of gear which I picked up and I wasn't particularly happy with the quality of it. I mean, I don't know, might be I've got a bad one. This one looks a bit different. It physically looks the same, but it's got some, you know, silk screening on it. But I don't know, we'll see if it goes alright. It's got a nice feeling cable, it's a silicon cable, something like that. It just I had problems with the contact inside the handle. So if you have problems with aerials and stuff, it's probably just the handle. I know it can happen. I've had problems with my fake Heiko I've got up there. So what I did also, I asked Banggood to send me one of these metal handles as well. Alright, so this is the same as what I'm actually using on my main soldering iron. This is what I'm using here. Same, it's actually the same body, it's got a different grip on it, so. And I actually quite like the quality of the metal handle, so I asked them to send me one of these too. So this is also linked down in the description. If you look around, you might actually find a version of this particular unit with the OLED display with a metal handle. Alright, I think there probably is an option there for that somewhere. But in this particular case, I've got this is what's linked to, is this package here, okay? And this is also linked to individually. If you want to get this as well, you know, then do it, but far prefer the metal handle. I just prefer it much more, so we'll give it a go with this first. So this has got a real nice flex on it. This does feel nice. You might find you're perfectly happy with that, but bear in mind if you do have issues with this particular handle, then you can get a better one. I've also linked down in the description a user manual which somebody else wrote. Now this isn't from the manufacturer, which is KSGER. I was actually browsing around trying to find a manual for the unit because it didn't come with a manual. There was no electronic information about where to download a manual or no physical manual for it. I did a little search and actually stumbled across somebody else has done a review video and they actually spent the time and they wrote a manual for it to show the interface, what they'd found from using it, and they actually did quite a good job on it. So I've actually, rather than trying to recreate what they've done, is I've grabbed a copy of their manual and put it up on my website. And there's a link for it down below in the description as well. So if you actually want to look at the user manual, well, a version of the user manual which somebody else has written, go and have a look. His name is Rohde Schwarz. It's down there anyway. His credit's still in there because it's his manual and it's got his name and stuff in it. It's, as you know, well-deserved credit for putting that together. That will be helpful too, I'm sure. If you ever come across this video and you actually have one of these and you stumble across this video because you want to find out more about it, the manual's down there from that guy. Okay. If I find a better manual, then I'll also chuck it down there too. Alright, so this is not a bad little unit. It's pretty, as you can see, it's pretty small. It's got a switch mode power supply in there and little control circuitry. Basically, there's not a lot to it. And I believe this is based on some open source software for the devices. Should I open it before I turn it on? Should I do it, Dave? Yes, we will open it up first. We'll get that bit out of the way. Let's pop the top cover off. I haven't looked in here myself yet. I've seen some pictures online, so I kind of know what's in there, but we'll see. I'm not going to dig too deeply into it, but you might find it interesting. Also, it's a black anodized aluminium casing, extruded casing, as these things tend to be. Nothing particularly special about that. Here we go. That's what's inside. So obviously we've got the AC input comes into here, soldered directly to the motherboard, runs across here, runs up to here. We've just got the main power switch, right? The fuse is built into the power input side, so the power goes in, runs across there, that's into the fuse holder. Well, you could learn something from this. Look, there's a power input jack with a switch and a built-in fuse. Hey Willa, cheap Chinese product, already better than yours. Alright, anyway, they'll have to have a dig. Willa need to lift their game in that, man. It's just ridiculous. Right, there's no excuse not having an input fuse. Why wouldn't you do it? It's for everyone's safety after all, that's what it's for. Anyway, and it looks like they actually had an option here for a connector instead of direct mounting. Looks like that's what that's for there. It's also got a secondary fuse just there. So not only has it got a main AC line fuse, it's also got a secondary fuse on the board. Well, it's got two fuses on the input. Obviously switch mode supply, so you got a diode bridge in there and a little initial supply, auto coupler, main switching transistor there, switching IC. What's that regulator there? Is it? It's a 7X28AR, whoever that is. Probably some MOSFET of some kind. And that's an MBRF 2020 CTG. Yeah, okay, probably some other MOSFET. That's a diode. It's got a D on there, so that's a diode there. So that's the initial transformer, obviously, for the right supply and the power supply for the chip, and this is the main switching transformer, which is doing the supply for the actual iron. A couple of smoothing caps here, which are Sanyo. It's a Sanyo cap, and that'll be the same. That's the same brand. And this one here is a, can't quite make out what that name's supposed to be. Maybe you can, maybe you know what it means. I don't recognise that symbol. Don't recognise it, so who knows. See a Y cap there. So that's just basically the power supply section. That's all that's doing there. And again, they've got an option here for a connector, but they've got wires soldered directly on, and obviously the power is going out to that control board. And so all the power is actually going through those two wires there. That's controlling everything. That's running the iron and the control board through those two wires. And the control board's got a plug there, which then comes through straight to that connector. So that's what that's doing. There's no other power. That's it, just through those two wires there. Interestingly, it's got a connector here for pump. When I looked through the menus, there was an interesting option in there which mentioned about desoldering or something like that, I think it said. I'm wondering if this module's got capabilities to do more. You know, can you hook up other equipment to it? I don't know. So there's a little buzzer just down there so you can hear the beeper, and there's also another little JST connector there, the mini one. I'm not sure what it does. There's a battery and a clock crystal there and stuff like that, and there's the main micro down there. You can see. Right. What is that thing? STM32. Yep, STM32. That's what I was trying to think of earlier on. So it's an STM32 based controller. And basically that is it, basically. This is just power supply. That is the actual thing. So, yeah, okay. Well, put it back together. There's a channel and there's a tongue. So it's like a tongue and groove system. So I actually quite like the case. It's a nice, robust case. It's it feels like it's nice quality. It actually feels nice. You know, sometimes you can buy products or get a product and it just doesn't feel like it's a quality product. It just doesn't have much. It feels a bit chintzy, as it were. And this feels alright. Okay. So, as you can see, I've still got the film on the front there. Let's get some power. So this is IEC connector. We'll plug in this. Now this is supposed to come with a tip. The listing which this was for listed a tip coming with it, which was a knife tip. But for some reason I didn't actually get a tip with it. I don't know why that was. So maybe it's maybe they didn't send me the right version, or I don't know, but anyway. So I'm going to use one of my other tips. This is actually a tip, I think it's supposed to be a tip that came with it. It's one of the my tips anyway, it's a KU tip, this one. So let's use that for now. Turn the power on. And we'll flick the switch on the back. Now, actually I'll just grab my iron stand here, so I don't not accidentally lean it or something. Let's flick the switch on the back and you watch how quickly it comes up. Okay, so that's fairly quick. It's quicker than my fake Heiko. Right. And considering on that power setting for those two little wires, it's actually not bad. I mean, maybe if those wires are beefed up a little bit from the main supply going from the regulator for the power supply to the actual control board, maybe it'd actually do it slightly better because that'd be giving a bit of a voltage drop. Now let's take this film off because it might be affecting what you can see. There you go, it's not a revision. And there we go. Now my bench lighting is not doing any favours for the display, it's actually making it look quite dim because my bench lighting is really bright. So what I'm going to do is turn some lighting off and try and make it a bit easier for you to see the display. Okay, here we go. Obviously this is already on, you've got various settings inside it. It's showing the ambient temperature 26 degrees right now. And it's also showing the tip which is being used. It says J2 or J02. This is something you can set inside the firmware. Now you've got options for, you've got a standby. Right, so standby is set at 200 degrees currently. If you go, like if you just turn it left, it will go to standby. And it will drop down that standby temperature. If you do it again, it will go to sleep, which actually turns it right off. Alright, so I'll just sit here with the power, the control unit still on obviously, but the iron will be off. Now, these are supposed to have a movement sensor in them. It doesn't work when you're sleeping. Push it to get out of that. Then let's go to standby, and if you move this around it will come back on again, as you can see. Alright, so standby. I'm not sure how sensitive it is. There we go. So you don't have to shake it hard, it does come back on again. Probably will detect you picking it up. So let's put it back in the holder, try it again. Maybe not, but you get a slight shake and it comes on. Alright, so obviously the whatever handle you use will have to make sure it's got a sensor in there to do that. You can also get it back out of standby just by turning the dial or pushing it or something like that. If you want to adjust temperature, you can just push the button and then adjust it. This is currently set at steps of 5 degrees. You can set it to whatever you want, I think. So I think I might just set a bit lower since I'm sitting here right now. It's also got a boost mode which will actually increase the temperature by whatever you have a preset amount to. And I think it's also got a preset time as well, so you can tell it how much extra heat to put in and for how long. And it's called boost mode. Alright, and you also see on display it's got, I should go through the display, shouldn't I? So obviously you've got set temperature at the top, actual temperature, tip, I'm not sure what the 0 is for, output power. It has a date time display. I'm not quite sure why it's necessary, but maybe hand it. It is switchable, I believe. There's 27 degrees, which is the ambient temperature of obviously the inside of this case, which will gradually change as it's on for longer periods of time, so as it heats up inside. But the boost thing, as I was saying before, I believe you turn like that, and that's on boost. It's jumped up by, in my case, 50 degrees C, so it's doing 330s, and it's went straight, basically straight there. So now it's doing a hotter temperature, and it'll do that for a period of time, whatever the preset is. And if you go left again, it'll turn the boost back off. I believe you can push it and turn it as well, which adjusts which tips you can use. These are like preset tips which you selected beforehand, and it has basically a list of all the preset tips that you say you own. There's a list inside the menu system which I'll get to in a second, and you can actually choose which tips you own. I haven't set up on this yet. This is just like the default setup on here, and long press to get back out, I think. So if you got, like in my case, I've got 4 tips sitting here on the bench, and these are like your everyday tips. Then you could preset those tips in here, and then you just do that pressing, choose which one you want. And what it does, it gives it a different profile for the tip. So it's got different profiles for each kind of tip type, which it's got configuration for. and so it will have better performance. Now this is setting for a JO2 tip, whatever that is, and I'm running a knife tip, which is a KU. Now some of these other tips I've actually got a bit worn off. Actually I think this is a JO2 here. Not sure, but they're a bit worn here, so it's a bit hard to actually see what they are. But I think that's a J2 there, which has got that curved tip. And that's a BC4Z. Alright, so if you preset what your tip is, I think it adjusts its profile to suit that tip better. Like I said, this holder's not full designed, didn't come with it, didn't come with the holder. Alright, so let's go into the menus, let's have a look. Actually I'll just put it standby first as the take the press hook. Actually I'll just put it to sleep. Let's go to the menus. So first option here is standby, zoom in some more so you can see it's a bit better. Focusing might play up though, just be warned. Okay, so option 1 is standby. So mode is shake, or 15 minutes and 200 degrees. Alright, so it will go to standby for 15 minutes. So and shake will wake it up. Switch and manual and auto, whatever that is. Alright, so it's got these different modes in here for the actual sleep wake up. Alright. So shake is obviously based on the handpiece, which is fine. And obviously the time and whatever temperature you want to set the sleep to. Now because it actually heats up so quickly, I'd actually inclined to drop this right down because it gets hot very quickly. So if I do 150 instead, this helps to preserve your irons, your actual tips, stops them from corroding so quickly and that sort of stuff. And because you get the, obviously flux is actually quite a harsh thing, it actually corrodes the tip of the iron. The colder you can have it, the better. And it helps to preserve your iron tips. So if I get back out of that, let's give it a long press. Next one is sleep mode, right? So this is actually the time it will do the sleep for. So if you just lift, sit in there, it will power down and then it will, after 30 minutes it'll go to sleep. Right, so if you've if you've walked off and left your iron on, it will go to sleep after 30 minutes. Which I think is okay. That's alright, I think. Boost mode, this is the settings for that. So in my case I've got it set for 50 degrees C and it'll do that for 5 minutes. Okay. You can do quite a wide range there, I think. So that's what, 30 minutes there. 1 minute to 30 minutes is the boost time. Right. And after that time has expired, it will return back to standard operation. So if you're doing a bit of soldering and you need a bit of extra power, I mean, I'd say just give it a couple of minutes. It'd probably be all you need, wouldn't it? Alright, so I was doing 2 minutes. Get back out of there. So number 4 is cold end, whatever that is. So I'm guessing that means the temperature sensing in here. Maybe that's what that little JST plug was at the bottom there. Maybe that's for an extra thermocouple or something. It's possible. So you've got external temperature sensing. So you can set the thermocouple type. In this case it's going to be defaulted to the correct one, so I'm not going to change that. Not quite sure why I need to change that. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what that's for. I have to figure that out. And this is a tip selection. So this is where you set which tips you actually own. Right. So, and these are the ones which will appear in that shortlist menu when you push the button down and turn it to the right. Okay, so you just preset what tips you own here, and it's got quite a range in here. How many's it got? Let's keep going. Oh, I've gone too far. Also, I've reached the end. So, I think that was about 99, wasn't it? 98. 98. So yeah, 98 different tips. So yeah, you just go in here and choose the ones you need, which are appropriate for you. And it seems that if you get to the end and maybe I'm turning too fast. I think if you turn fast, it'll jump out of that menu. Something like that. It's a way of getting out. Okay, so stepping. Let's see what that does. Stepping is 5 degrees C, so that's the actual temperature steps you want to adjust for. So if you want to do, you can do down to 1 degree or up to 50 degree steps. So when you're adjusting temperatures, I think 10 degrees is probably adequate really for what I want. I think 5 degrees is a bit too precise. I'm not that precise at doing stuff. passwords. You can actually set up locking on it, so if it's used in an environment where you don't want people changing the settings, you can do that. Screensaver. It's on, off, well, on or off, and delay is 5 minutes, so I'm guessing it dims the display or something like that. I guess if you use it a lot, maybe it'll matter. I'm guessing it'll wake up and you move the iron around or something like that, or it detects being used. I'm not quite sure, we'll have to look into that. Buzzer, so that's when it beeps or not, right? So that's on. I quite like beeping, so it's a nice positive reinforcement that the control's working. Voltage display, on or off. Now what this does, it changes the display mode slightly. So if I come right out, so now it's showing the full date and time thing on here. Let's wake it up. Go back in there to that setting. Did I do that right? Voltage on. Maybe that did it because I was in. Maybe you can set different configurations depending on which mode it's setting in. Maybe. No, I was trying to see if I can get it out that way. Still trying to figure out how to use this thing. I haven't really played around that much. And now instead of showing the tip down here, it shows the voltage. So that's obviously what it's sensing from the power supply. So you can see if the power supply is sagging too much, I suppose, you could see what it's actually doing. I don't know. I think I'd probably prefer to move it up here instead of having a time, personally, but anyway. Let's go back in there, turn it back off. I'm not really sure it's necessary. Low voltage protection, I'm guessing. Yep, low voltage protection, so it will detect if it's got a low voltage problem. Whether you really need to do that, I don't know. Maybe in this particular instance it doesn't matter, but maybe if you're using like a battery pack system, then you know, that'd be an option you need to have set up. Obviously this is like a generic STM32 configuration for this particular unit, and all the options are in there for it, even though in this particular case it doesn't really apply. Power on setting, so this is what it does when you turn it on, what mode's it in. So by default it's running, so when you turn it on it's just on. I think I'd prefer to have it so it comes on standby, because as soon as you try and do something it's going to come on anyway. But standby means it's preheated to 150 degrees and it will stop there. And obviously sleep as well. Yeah. And there's this other weird function here, desolder mode, inching valve. I got no idea what that's for. No idea. I'm guessing that's that pump thing up there. And there's a pump set as well, just there, and pump times. So again, this seems to be like a generic option on the module itself, which could be put into some other device or configured a different way. Language settings. Well, I've got to be careful here. It's set to the current one. I pushed it long. Should be there. Short pass. Language. So yeah, English and Chinese. Two choices right now. Okay. Date time settings. Okay. Right. Let's change this to the correct time, which I think is about that. And what time is it now? Yeah, it's about 9:15. Yeah, close enough. Alright, so it's got, I don't really know we need it there. Real-time clock adjustment. Day error. Okay, real-time clock, so I can track. Real-time clock initialization. System info, there we go. So this has got the hardware software information there, so it's version 2.1 of the hardware and 2.1 of the software. So yep. Initialization, so it obviously returns it back to factory defaults, and exiting the menus, so that gets you back out. So what tip have I got on this thing? That's a knife tip, so let's just look for K. KR. Was there a KU? I probably don't have it in the preset, so let's do K. It's close enough. Alright, so that's the menu system. I have to say, I actually, from the little bit I've played around with this already, just yesterday, I just tried it out just very briefly, and I'm actually quite happy about how it works. It was fast to heat. It seemed to have plenty of power for the thing I was soldering. I just tried it out on something fairly substantial, and it seemed to work fine. That is even with a small tip. It could compensate quite well. So, but the only thing is, I'm not completely comfortable about is this particular handle that's on it. You know. So as you can see, a standby is dropping down still, and it's getting there. So I'm going to go back into these menus and maybe. Oh, I'm bored with that. I was going to say I was configure my. Oh, maybe I will. Maybe I want to see how to do it. So let's go and configure my tips. What tips do I own? So I don't have an N. Turn it off. I think I have any ends anyway. So this one here is that's an I. That's a J. I think that's a JL2. Might be JLO2, is it? That's a JLO2. And that's a BC something. BC4 Z, wasn't it? And I've got a knife KU there. So just go through the menu here and you just click it to turn them on off. I do have BC1. Didn't have BC4 there. What's this other tip I've got here? I've actually got a range of tips which I've got to put away. That's a JSO2, that one. So one of the tips that I know I have, it didn't come up with. I've got an I. JO2. Oh, let's turn that one off. JSO2 I've got. K, yes, KF. KU, which is what's currently in here. I do have some other Ks as well. I'm not quite sure which ones they are. I might have to turn them all on actually, because I think it could be one of those. BC2Z. I think I've got a BC1. The BC4's up here. There's the BC4. There it is. There. Okay. What that should mean is that when I get back out all the way, when I push that and turn to the right, there's the options I've put in there to say which ones I want. Oh, obviously I forgot to turn that one off. But those are my other tips there. Alright, so that's fine. I have to turn this 1402 off. I don't know what that is. Turn that one off. There we go. Right, done. So that's how you set the tips up. So you can got that shortcut in there for which tips. I'm using KU right now. Right, so in theory that should be tuned to that tip type, I believe. Anyway, I could be wrong about that. That's the information I had heard, was that tune it to the tip. I could be wrong. It could just be for reference only. I don't know, but it seems like an awful lot of effort just to have a reference on there. Okay, so this thing's currently in sleep mode. Well, I've got my lighting now, so you probably can't see the display too well. Let's unplug the handle, and it will show error, right? Because it's not sensing the handle there. If you see the error thing, it means it's probably a bad connection either on here or on the tip itself where it plugs into the handle. Like I said, the handle I had this previously from my fake Heiko, it had bad connections to the side. It wasn't really good spring terminals in there which connect to the tip, so that's why I changed mine. I had issues with it. So if you see the error, it means it's probably got a bad connection inside the handle there. You can actually pull that out. You have to take this strain relief out. You pull that out the back, and you can actually slide the whole assembly out the front, in case you'll need to do that and check it out. So here's the other one. So this is a nicer handle. So I'll plug this in. It should work with it, and it'll still give an error because it's doesn't have a tip in there. Lined up. So it's still showing error because there's no tip in there. This tip has cooled down, so I can quite happily grab it. And we'll plug that in. And now we have no error. Okay, but it's still asleep. Right, it says power off 40 degrees C, so showing what the actual temperature is down here right now. and I think I'm going to have to push it. There we go, and that's now on again, and that's up to temperature. Now this is obviously PID control, so it's using a very efficient way of doing it, because it means it uses maximum power in order to get it up to temperature as quickly as it can, and then it senses it's getting close and backs that power off so it doesn't overshoot. So this is my preferred handle anyway, it's just kind. I'm not sure about it's got like a foam, this one's got a foam handle on it, and so my other one here has got a rubber handle instead. I'm not sure, I mean, this isn't as grippy, my fingers are slipping more on this. The foam one definitely feels nicer in that way. How long it's going to last, I don't know, it may not last long, but I imagine you can probably get new grips anyway. I imagine you probably can get them. So I think this is going to replace my main iron. I believe this is going to become my main one, because my my fake Heiko is sitting on the shelf there, which works okay and is great for the price. I've done a review on that previously as well. If you want to check back my previous videos, you can see me reviewing that one and pulling it apart and stuff like that. That was fairly cheap as well, but its user interface is nowhere near as nice as this. And it's something you want to, you know, if you're changing temperature settings all the time. I find that on the fake Heiko, I don't tend to change the settings too much, because it's a bit of a pain. So you pull the little card out and put it back in again, and then push the button to change, and then push the button again to change the actual temperature, and push it again to clear it, and finish submitting, right? And it's like, it's an awful lot of work just to change temperature. Whereas this, you just go like that, you know, you push it and you go, oh, done. Alright, it's far easier, you know, 350, bang, and it's there. That's how quick it is. Because of the simplicity of use, this is, to me, looking far better than the fake Heiko I've got there. I mean, you could always also argue the fake Heiko is not as good as the real Heiko. I'm sure that's the case, but I think the real Heiko's got the same kind of issue too, actually, where you have to do multiple button presses just to change temperatures. This is going to be my main bench iron, because it's just so easy to use. Obviously dropping down in temperature takes a bit longer because you've got to dissipate the heat. I actually quite like this thing. It's nice. Now, one thing I haven't checked yet is earth resistance from the tip through to the ground. I believe it's earthed. We shall check that actually. So it's let's kill the power on this. Takes a little while to power down because it's obviously got a decent storage capacity in the capacitors there. So let's measure earth resistance from the tip and see what we get. Try and get it so you can actually see it without the glare. Probably having all the lighting so you can so I can get decent video, but it doesn't really do well for everything else. So there you go, just direct shot there so you can see. Well, try and get a good one. These tips aren't the best, so yeah, 1 ohm is like a base. 0.6, there you go, that's what I normally see, is 0.6. Okay, so earth pin on there through the tip. What do we get? We get a better connection. 1.3, so it's about 0.6, 1.1 there, half an ohm. Oh, it's coming down. So yeah, it's a good earth connection on there. So that's fine, so the tip is earthed. Some people actually prefer not to have an earth tip so they can work on live equipment. I'm not sure everyone will work on live equipment, but I have to admit that I've done it. Just turning power off on something and working on it, there may still be circuitry that is still powered, and having an earth tip can be a problem. I'd say just use better practices and remove power completely if you can. But yeah, so the tip is earthed and it's nice, and like I said, I really like this thing. So check out the links down below for going and buying this unit or buying this handle, because if you have one of these but you've got a plastic handle, in that case you can get the metal one. That's down there, along with that user manual which that other guy wrote. He did a really good job on it. Also, if you're interested, I've got some merch, and if you want to help support my channel, you've got the Patreon page or the PayPal links down there below as well, if you want to help support me and help me to do more reviews and help me to buy things from Mailbag or bits of test gear to fix that kind of thing. So all the support always helps. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Now I've got some cleaning up to do. Hopefully not grabbing a hot iron tip, because that would be bad. Done that once before. Never again. Catch you later. I'll see you later. See ya.